Okay, let's dive right in. Picture the tropical rainforest. It's just bursting with life, right? It's one of the most vibrant, diverse places on the entire planet. But here's the catch. With all that life comes a whole lot of competition. I mean, it is one of the toughest neighborhoods you can imagine. Every single plant, every animal is in this constant battle for resources, for space, basically for survival. So that really brings us to our big question for today. How in the world do you survive in a place like that? How do all these plants and animals actually make a life for themselves when it's so incredibly crowded? Well, it turns out they've come up with honestly, some genius level solutions. All right, first up, the plants. Now, you might think they're just plants, they don't move, but don't let that fool you. They are locked in this silent, super high stakes battle every single day. And for them, the name of the game is all about one thing. And what's that one thing they're all fighting for? Well, it's sunlight. I mean, it's the number one resource. The rainforest canopy, it's just so incredibly thick. Think of it like a giant leafy ceiling that almost no light makes it down to the forest floor. So if you're a plant trying to grow down there, you have to get really clever to grab your little piece of the sun. And really, they've come up with two main game plans. You've got the Go Tall team over here. These are the trees that just go for it, right? They race each other straight up, trying to break through the canopy into that open, glorious sunlight. But then you've got the Go Wide team. These are the plants living in the shadows below. They play a totally different game. They've developed these enormous leaves that are basically giant solar panels designed to catch every single precious ray of light that manages to filter down. Okay, so if you're one of those Go Tall trees, you've got a problem. To get that high, you need a super strong foundation. But here's the thing, the soil in the rainforest is actually really shallow. So what do? Well, you develop buttress roots. Look at these things. They're incredible. They spread out super wide, kind of like a tripod, giving these massive trees all the stability they need to tower over everything without having to dig deep roots. But it's not just about getting enough sun, It's also about dealing with, well, too much of a good thing, water. I mean, it's a rainforest, right? It gets a ton of rain. So to handle this constant downpour, plants evolved these amazing drip tips. You see how the leaves are waxy and have this little point at the end? That whole design acts like a personal gutter, channeling all that heavy rain right off the leaf. This keeps it from getting damaged or, growing a bunch of fungus. And then you have the plants that have figured out a really clever workaround. I like to think of it as, well, they kind of cheat. These are called epiphytes, or air plants. They don't even bother trying to grow from the dark forest floor. Instead, they just grow right on the branches of other, taller trees. This gives them a free ride up into the sunlight, and they get all the water and nutrients they need just from the humid air and the rain that falls on them. Pretty smart, huh? All right, so that's the plant playbook. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the animal kingdom. For them, things are a little more intense. It's a nonstop, high-stakes game of hide and seek, and the rules are brutally simple. Eat and avoid being eaten. So let's meet our first animal. This little guy is pretty much impossible to miss, and that's exactly the point. This is the poison dart frog, and its survival strategy is not to hide, but to stand out. So here's the deal. The frog's skin oozes this really powerful poison. And to make sure every predator in the area knows about it, the frog is decked out in these super bright, vibrant colors. It's like a giant flashing neon sign that says, "Hey, I am not a safe snack. Stay away." Okay, so we just saw an animal that wants everyone to see it. Now let's look at one that wants the complete opposite. Meet the rainforest gecko, an absolute master of disappearing and a brilliant escape artist. The gecko has this amazing multi-layered defense plan. Plan A, its green skin makes it practically invisible among the leaves. Just total camouflage. Plan B, if a predator does spot it, its incredible sticky toe pads let it sprint up vertical surfaces to escape. And then there's the last-ditch effort. Plan C, if something actually grabs its tail, it just drops it. The tail keeps wiggling on the ground, distracting the predator, while the gecko makes a clean getaway. Amazing. And now for an animal that has basically turned being lazy into a survival superpower. Yep, we're talking about the sloth. Its whole life, its entire strategy is built around one single idea: conserve energy at all costs. So, how does it do it? Well, first, it's nocturnal, so it's active at night when fewer predators are out. Second, it moves so incredibly slowly that it just blends in. It doesn't even look like an animal. more like a clump of leaves. Third, it's got these super long arms and big curved claws that give it a rock-solid grip on branches. And finally, its metabolism is just ridiculously slow, which means it can survive on very little food. And get this, that super slow metabolism means a sloth can go for about 8 days before it has to do the one really dangerous thing it ever does, climb down to the forest floor. Talk about energy efficiency, it's absolutely off the charts. But of course, for every creature trying to hide, there's another one that's hunting. And at the very top of the food chain, you have the apex predator of the rainforest, the jaguar. I mean, this animal is just a perfectly designed killing machine. Its coat, perfect camouflage for the spotty light of the forest floor. It can move in total silence while stalking its prey, and then just explode with incredible speed. It's got these massive claws for climbing and, of course, for grabbing prey. And if that's not enough, it's also a fantastic swimmer, so there's really nowhere to hide. Okay, so we've seen how plants do it, we've seen how animals do it. What's the big takeaway here? What's the lesson from this amazing display of survival skills? Well, I think it shows us that in the rainforest, nothing, and I mean nothing, is an accident. Every single feature, that wide leaf, that bright skin, that sharp claw, it tells a story. It's a hard-won solution to a life or death problem that has been perfected over millions of years. And that's why this quote just nails it. Every single detail has a purpose, a critical job to do. It's a world built on extreme efficiency, where every little thing is designed for one reason, to live another day. But this leaves us with one last and maybe the most important question. All these amazing species are perfectly adapted for the rainforest of today. They are masterpieces of evolution. But what happens tomorrow? As their world starts to change, will all these incredible, specialized adaptations still be a strength? Or could they actually become a weakness?